I'm Callie Lewis. You're watching Geek Brief TV. This is part 4 of our GBTV PC project. Okay, this is bad. In this episode, we're installing the processor and the motherboard. Most manufacturers suggest installing the motherboard first and then attaching the CPU. But most of the books we've read suggest that you have it on a flat surface and install the CPU in case you have to apply pressure, you don't break the motherboard. So we're going to do it the safe way. This is the CPU, and I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So to install it, we lift this lever up at a 90-degree angle. And what you're looking for is this triangle, and there's a triangle right here on the motherboard. So you want to match those up. And again, I have big hands, so there we go. And then just put that down. Now the motherboard is one of the most fragile pieces in a computer, so you want to take the most care with it. Anytime you handle any of these components, you want to make sure you ground yourself by touching the PSU. Okay, that's not getting us anywhere. I'm going to try this cloth instead. Oh, that looks better. This little wardrobe change is due to the fact that we lost the clip where I explained the CPU cooler. Basically, it sits on top of the processor, and the purpose is to draw heat from the processor through this aluminum part, the heatsink, and out the fan. Now, between the heatsink and the processor, you need either thermal compound, and this is made of 99% pure silver, or thermal pad. And I would, of course, prefer the thermal pad, but with this processor, AMD suggested that we use the goop. Ew. Now, I'm more nervous about this part of the project than anything else, not because it's dangerous, but because if you use too much compound, then you could damage components. If you use too little, then it won't cool the CPU properly. So, wish me luck. My heart's actually beating really fast. The goop applies directly to the processor. An amount equal to half a grain of rice should do the trick. Okay, that should be good. This brand comes with a spreader, so it doesn't need to be thick, just make sure it's even. If you're doing it with your finger, I think I'm gonna have to add a little bit more, but if you're doing it with your finger, just go in a small circular motion, and some kits come with a brush. The spreader didn't work out so well. I spread it on and then it seemed to spread right off. So I cleaned it off and used my finger instead. That worked much better. Not bad for a first timer, huh? Figuring out this little attachment contraption was a little difficult just from looking at the graphics on the manuals and books, but I'm sure it's just a matter of doing it once and then it's easy from then on. So I am just attaching it according to the way the manual said. I hope I'm doing this right. Okay, so it said that this bracket needs to come up there, okay, and then this bracket, Okay, so it just stretches a little bit, it seems. It's not stretching over enough to get it attached. Maybe I'm just not using enough power. Okay, I need help. Believe it or not, we actually did use the hammer. We didn't hammer anything, we just used it to apply pressure to this little part so it snapped into place. And now we lock this into place. Oops, I'm moving the whole thing. Just applying pressure, which I'm afraid to do. That did take some pressure, and it didn't feel like a good kind of pressure, but just power through it. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach these cables that power the fan. So I'm just going to, I've already put those in, so I'm just going to go ahead and screw things in. It really helps to have a magnetized screwdriver. You don't want to tighten the screws too much, otherwise you can damage the motherboard. It can actually crack. So that's a bit scary. But just don't tighten too much and you'll be okay. The CPU's installed, the motherboard's attached. On part 5, we'll attach the PCI cards, install the RAM, and attach all the wires. This episode is sponsored by Splendid Flavor Blends and the coffee I drink flavored with mocha. Oh, cramp. Oh, stripper shoes again. Ow. Oh boy.
Another Pod Show video podcast. Stick it on your screen.